years moving forward. Thank you, sir.
Definitely.
Thanks for doing this, Steve.
Bless you, Dan. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank
All
you.
right. It's time for Robbie's Records Radio. Let's check out Rob Robinson and what he has in store today.
And now a man who has learned after all these years that big girls do cry, Robbie Robinson.
Thank you, Paul Schaefer, for that super cool introduction. As Paul Schaefer just mentioned, my name is Robbie Robinson. I am the music director, keyboard player, Hammond organist for Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and that's something I've been doing since 1978, and I want to welcome each one of you out there to Robbie's Records Radio. I'm from a small town of 7,000 people in southern Illinois, Litchfield, Illinois. It's located halfway between St. Louis and Springfield, and it's located right on Route 66, that famous highway that was made famous in a song by Bobby Troup back in the 1940s. Route 66 starts in Chicago, where the Hammond Organ Company started. And then it goes all the way across the country and ends up at Santa Monica, California. And the first song you're going to hear today is a version of that great song, Route 66. On this song, I collaborated with the amazing super talent Sarah Nimitz. And in our version, we are going to reference two of my big loves in life. One is the Hammond organ, which was invented in 1934 by Lawrence Hammond. And the other love that we are going to reference is my beloved hometown of Litchfield, Illinois, that sits right on Route 66. So sit back and enjoy Sarah Nimitz, Robbie Robinson, as we motor our way down Route 66.
If you ever plan to motor west, jump my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it winds from Litchfield to LA. More than 2,000 miles along the way. Oh, get your kicks on Route 66. And now you go through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, and Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty. You see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Bosco, San Bernardino. I wanna go to Litchfield. Let's go. Come on, Robbie. St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, and Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty. You see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, yeah. Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Bosco, San Bernardino City. Won't you get here to this town, yeah, yeah. When you plan to make that kite on your trip, get your kicks on Route 66. Oh, get your kicks on Route 66. You gotta get your kicks on Route 66.
Oh, yeah. Get your kicks on Route 66. And by the way, all the songs that you're going to hear today are available through Robbie's Records. And you can access anything Robbie Robinson centric or anything about Robbie's Records on my website, which is RobbieRobinsonMusic.com. RobbieRobinsonMusic.com, which is spelled RobbieRobinson music.com. So go over there and check it out. Now, everybody who knows me knows that my Christian faith is super important to me. And I have written a lot of songs that illustrate that faith. The next song you're going to hear is one of those songs. It's called From This Moment On. Now, I wrote this song inspired by the story of doubting Thomas in the Bible. Thomas was one of the 12 disciples of Jesus, but he famously doubted Jesus' resurrection, and he told the other disciples, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe. Then Jesus appeared to him and offered to let him do just that. I wrote this song inspired by that story, and it's sung by the great, great singer Tony Galla. From This Moment On.
My Lord, my God, now I have no doubt. From this moment on, at last my life always will have peace. From this moment on, from this moment, my life will be secure. You're the Son of God, Christ the living Word. Without a doubt, your Spirit I receive. From this moment I believe. Thank you, Lord, for giving me the precious gift of life. You died on that cross at Calvary in place of me as my sacrifice. But you died and rose again, just like you told us that you would. Once I had doubt, but now I believe. The Lamb is risen, risen indeed. My Lord, my God, now I have no doubt. From this moment on, at last my life always will have peace. From this moment on, from this moment my life be secure. You're the Son of God, Christ the living Word. Without a doubt, your Spirit I receive. From this moment I believe. Forgive me, Lord, for doubting you, that in 3 days you would rise. But when I touched your hands inside, I knew that it was true. Jesus is alive. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe that you are Lord. Once I had doubt, but now I believe. The Lamb has risen, risen indeed. My Lord, my God, now I have no doubt. From this moment on, at last my life always will have peace. From this moment on, from this moment, my life will be secure. You're the Son of God, Christ the living Word. Without a doubt, your Spirit I receive. From this moment I believe. Without a doubt, your Spirit I receive. From this moment I believe.
Tony Gallus singing From This Moment On. And as I mentioned before, all of my music is available on Robbie's Records. So check us out at RobbieRobinsonMusic.com. Now, for the third song we're going to play today, we're going to go back in the time machine about 30 years. I had the opportunity back then to collaborate, to produce, to write with an absolute legend. His name was Dick Contino, arguably the greatest accordion player who ever lived. Now, a lot of people don't think the accordion is cool, but I tell you this, Dick Contino made it super cool because this guy was such an amazing musician, and he was an amazing human being too, and I just have great, great memories of making this record with Dick Contino. Now, the song I'm going to play is called Dancing with Sunbeams, and I wrote this with my co-producer, Glenn Ballantyne, specifically for Dick Contino. So get ready to hear the accordion like you've never heard it before. Oh, yeah, Dancing with Sunbeams with Dick Contino. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening to this Robbie's Records Radio. Don't forget, you can check us out at RobbieRobinsonMusic.com. And until next week, God's big blessings to each and every one of you.
Wednesday night live here in Tampa, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, downtown Clearwater in the Tan Talk Network. If you want to jump aboard this love train, please do at 727-441-3000. Our next guest, Dave Revels, is the founder, creator of Shadows of the 60s and an entertainer with over 3 decades of experience. In the mid to late 80s, he was a member of the Hall of Fame group, The Drifters, which featured 2 original members, Charlie Thomas and Mr. Hobbs. He has toured worldwide and is currently the lead singer and record arranger producer for internationally acclaimed a cappella group, The Persuasion. He's an author and songwriter. Dave has over 20 years experience in developing theme shows and 50s and 60s style production. He has produced or written songs for shows in Las Vegas, Nevada, Love Potion number 10, and the final song for a rock and roll show that played in Las Vegas for over 7 years. Dave has also created and produced Christmas shows in Atlantic City and the Sands in Tropicana. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Dave Revels. Dave, are you there, sir?
Wow, Dave, that's impressive.
You live long enough, I guess, you accumulate a few things along the way that you do, you know?
There you go.
Right, that's right. Dave, meet Miriam. Miriam, meet Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Miriam. How are you doing?
Hey, you know what? Living and learning. How about you?
The same thing, constantly. Never stop doing that.
There you go. Every day's a new opportunity.
That's right. So, Dave, Miriam's in our Florida studio. I'm up in New York. I know you're in New York, too. But you, my man, have had such a brilliant career. Talk about your journey and what was one of the highlights of the early days of your music.
Well, you know, like everyone that makes it a lifelong ambition or lifestyle, you start early. You know, I can't quite say what the catalyst was that made me decide to devote to music, but it really started in high school. And one thing led to another where you meet the right people at the opportune time that teach you something you didn't know. And, you know, as long as your first core of that is you're enjoying doing what you're doing, and I've always enjoyed it. So, like I tell people, when I stop enjoying it, that's when I'll stop doing it. But I've been fortunate, you know. I met a lot of great people. One of the people I met, many people may not even know him, His name is Jimmy Sigler. He was a brother of the Sound of Philadelphia, the Philly Sounds writer and singer, Bunny Sigler. And he used to work on a lot. He was a pianist. He was also the pianist of Dinah Washington. So meeting him, I did his play. He had at Brooklyn College when I attended Brooklyn College in the early days. And part of my foundation, you know, I guess it starts with your foundation of the art. You know, I met the Persuasions when I was a budding teenager. And one of the members, J. Otis Washington, taught me harmony. And what better group to learn harmony from than the Persuasions? And I guess one of the highlights is that several decades later, I wound up being a member of the group, becoming the lead singer as original lead singer left, and arranging their albums. I mean, I thought that was quite a circle complete. But in between, a lot of things happened. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm rambling on because I could. But
you're perfect.
1985, I guess one of the great times was I was on Motown Returns to the Apollo Theater, an NBC television special. And the highlight of that was on the day that we filmed it, of course, with all the Motown stars, Four Tops, Temptations, Stevie Wonder, and all the rest of the crew. My first child was born that same day. I was going back and forth from the taping to NYU Hospital, and I was there when she was born. And so when you saw me on that special, which decades later has gotten millions of hits, I was a brand new daddy. So I guess that's a pretty good highlight. What do you think?
Wow, that is a highlight of a lifetime there.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Mary. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it definitely is.
Yeah, and Dave, you rattle off some names. So I want to give you some names, and you tell me a little bit about them, okay? Is that fair enough?
Sure. If I know, I'm sure.
Okay, I think you know these people. Well, first of all, Sonia Revels. Talk about your wife a little bit.
Of course, that's the other highlight of my life, meeting her. That's a story in itself. I posted a story on Facebook a long time ago. It's probably still there in the ether world. But I met her on my final day as a drifter. I was going to do a show, and I was supposed to be meeting one of the guys at 72nd Street on Broadway. He had car trouble. So I decided, okay, so I had to take the train. And a very crowded situation. First train came, I let it go because I didn't want to get on a crowded train. I wasn't in a hurry to go anyway. Second train came, it was crowded. I could have gotten in. I said, I don't want to go. Third train came, there was more room. I said, I can't put this off any longer. So I stepped into the car. And a couple stops later, when the car emptied out, there she was standing across the hall, standing across against the other door, opposite door, and I was on the other side, and it was like magic. So, yeah, she's an incredible person, you know, and I guess you could say she changed my life in a way that has been profound ever since. We have children and a beautiful home and a life, and that's I guess you say that's the bed I sleep in at night after being an entertainer, the ground I walk on when I'm not on stage, and the air I breathe when I'm not up there performing in front of thousands of people and hearing applause. So sort of that's my ground. That's my grounding.
That's beautiful. I had to start with her. How about Susan Spain?
Very talented young lady. She's a television star now. She starred in a show called Our Kind of People. That was a Fox Television Network miniseries, and she played one of the characters. She played the matriarch of the family, Rose, and she's a member of our cast. So she's a bona fide talent and an actress and a wonderful person. You know, she's in my cast of my show, Shadows of the 60s, which is a tribute to Motown supergroups. I started 12 years ago and with my partner, David Backer. And it's been going like gangbusters because we stayed true to the sound, the original keys, the original arrangement, the choreography, the costuming, the staging. And we give people, I call it Broadway on steroids. We give you a real concert feeling, but with the elegance and grace of Broadway.
That's amazing. I've seen the show. It's an amazing show. How about Larry Stephen Hines?
another bona fide actor. You know, he's been on Law and Order, the Special Crime Unit show. He's been he does a great Sammy Davis Jr. Production he's in, the Rat Pack. He's very versatile talent, dancer, tap dancer, actor, singer, and he's been with us for the whole 12 years.
Wow. Two more gentlemen. AJ Davis.
Oh, Mr. Globetrotter. You know, where's Waldo Pepper? That's him. Where, you know,
Yep.
he's all over the globe. He's done so many things. If you were watching the Macy's Day Parade, Thanksgiving Day Parade, there was a section of a quartet of guys doing a barbershop quartet. He was the one singing bass.
Oh, wow.
But he has quite a voice. He goes from first tenor to bass, and he's in that singing barbershop quartet. Actor, dancer, singer, all around town, and a very, very well put together young man. Good character.
Wow. And Sam White.
Sam White, another one. He was a member of a group that many people know from Soul Days called the Joneses. They had a song called Sugar Pie Guy, which is a mainstay in dance clubs forever, and it's still being played in dance clubs. And he's been with us since the inception of the production. Again, character. All these people you're talking about, they're deep in good character. They are team players. They appreciate each other. They appreciate the other person's talent. They are supportive of everyone. They're just fine people. Look, I've been around this thing for too many decades to make a choice in who I want to be around. I want to be around positive people.
Yeah.
If you can't check your ego at the door, I don't want to work with you. I don't care how talented you are. And these people not only have talent, but they also have integrity, and that's what I look for.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, now, Dave, we have a lot of viewers out there and listeners. If you want to join in, please do it. 727-441-3000. Talking to Dave Revels. And Dave, during the pandemic, it was challenging for all of us. So I'm thinking that you've been back on tour, and how has those moments been after the pandemic, seeing live audiences again?
Well, we all know that eventually it would happen, that it would come back, however slow. But what it borne out to me is that what I've always said, even if it's 50 people in the audience, you treat each one like there's 50,000 people in the audience. So initially when it came back, one of the first shows I did was a drive-in show where people pull up in their cars on the meadow, and we're set in the middle of the field. And the way the people applauded, they honked their horns. That was the applause. So
Right.
It was kind of fun because you had to adapt to the reawakening of the world like that. And one of the things I did was when I wanted them to counter a song, I had them tap it on their horn, like 1, 2, 3, 4, bump, 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 and things like that. So they were engaged with it. Even the car was involved. But the journey started before the performances. I mean, during the height of the pandemic, I switched to the internet. I did a lot of collaboration over the web, wrote songs remotely with people, where you'd send tracks back and forth. And that's how I released one of my singles was released that way, recorded during the height of the pandemic. But going out live again, I'm a live entertainer. I love an audience, because when I'm on stage, nobody comes first. I don't come first. The audience comes first. So being able to see the faces and to interact with them and the feedback is phenomenal. If you're a live entertainer, this is what you live for. And as long as we were doing it safely, I think that's the way, because nobody wants to go backwards. But, I think they did it right. They took their time with it. They were cautious. The venues were cautious. They limited how many people came in initially. They cleaned the theaters properly. All those things, because the thing about being an entertainer is that we are essential workers.
Mm.
The catch-22 and the paradox in it is that we couldn't do our job because the very thing that we do, we were not able to do. We artists bring people together to collectively share an experience, to elevate our emotions, our spirit towards humanity. And you need to bring people together for that. Well, during the pandemic, we couldn't do that for people. So we couldn't feed the soul and the psyche of people that we all desperately needed. So now that it's coming back, we're finally able to do our essential work.
Well, Dave, I first of all, I want to ask you to come back on our show again because we're out of time. But we want to share, anytime you're close to me, the song that you have put out there. And how can people get a hold of you?
Well, that song's about a pandemic. Anytime you're close to me, getting close to people. If you want to get a hold of me, you can go to my website, daverevels.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook, Dave Revels. I'm easy to find. Reach out to me as a friend, messenger me, and we can talk.
Dave, we'll get you back on the show, and you've been a great friend of mine and a wonderful guy, and God bless you, sir.
Yes, definitely. God bless you.
God bless you all too. Miriam, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes, you as well. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Anytime you're close to me, Dave Revels.
You have no idea what it is you do to me. Made me write sweet words of melody, smile and wax poetically. And I still come nowhere near to explaining how you become my universe. When I need a drink, it's you I love. Gotta tell you, baby, anytime you're close to me, I get falling down drunk with love, higher than the clouds of love. Anytime you're close to me. Funny how we fell in place. I turned instead of going straight. There we both stood face to face. Then you smiled and changed my world in that moment. Can't keep my eyes from following you. Anywhere you lead me to. Let me tell you, baby, anytime you're close to me.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper in Chicago. In an effort to get more baby formula on store shelves, President Biden announces
invoking what they call the Defense Production Act to ensure that manufacturers have the necessary ingredients to make safe, healthy infant formula here at home.
Mr. Biden has also authorized flights to import supply from overseas. More from CBS's Jamie Yukas.
For many desperate families, the relief will not come fast enough. The Federal Nutritional Service that helps low-income women, infants, and children, known as WIC, says more than half of the formula in the U.S. is bought by WIC families, feeding 1.4 million babies. The largest maker, Abbott, controls about 40% of infant formula here in the U.S. The FDA reached an agreement to reopen its largest plant in Michigan, but that still leaves a gap on store shelves for at least the next 2 months.
Fears of a recession and retailer profits hurt by inflation brought another sobering day on Wall Street, with major indexes suffering heavy losses. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Everything from Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Costco, all these companies down double digits in one day.
The Dow plummeted over 1,100 points. The Nasdaq fell 566, and the S&P 500 closed down 165 points. COVID-19 cases are increasing in the United States. More from CBS News medical contributor Dr. David Agus.
Now 75% of the United States is in a high-risk area with significant numbers of cases. Some local officials are calling for a redo of the mask mandates in certain indoor areas for protection of individuals, particular people of high risk.
The current 7-day daily average of COVID cases is up about 26% from last week. The U.S. Senate primary between Republicans David McCormick and Dr. Mehmet Oz is too close to call. Dr. Mehmet Oz and former hedge fund CEO David McCormick are virtually tied. Oz, who has been endorsed by former President Trump, tells supporters,
when all the votes are tallied, I am confident we will win.
The eventual GOP nominee will face off against Democratic nominee John Fetterman, who is recovering from a stroke. And Russia says that nearly 1,000 Ukrainian troops who defended a giant steelworks in Mariupol have surrendered. Ukraine ordered the fighters to save their lives. The fighters face an uncertain fate. Meantime, a symbolic return to Ukraine for the U.S. Details from CBS's Christina Ruffini.
The embassy is operating under a severely limited staff. Most of the personnel are still working out of Poland, and it's yet unclear what kind of services it will be able to provide.
And Apple delays its return to office plans. This is CBS News.
Now to exclusive reporting from CBS News.
Join Gail King, Tony DeCopel, and Nate Burleson for original reporting. CBS Mornings, weekday mornings on CBS.
Are you ready for a unique event that will bring a much-needed injection of fun and levity to our community? Listen further, because the Roast of Frank Hibbard takes place on the evening of May 20th at Ruth Eckerd Hall. Business and political leaders will roast Clearwater Mayor Frank Hibbard in the style of the Dean Martin and Comedy Central roasts. It's going to be an evening of nonstop laughs with lots of good-natured one-liners aimed at Mayor Hibbard. Each person gets a